have the flavor of both. So drone technology and this IoT. So all these disruptive technologies, we are offering them the minor programs as well. We have 5,500 students in our institution in engineering, including both, even including PhD as well. Undergraduate is more. Postgraduate will be out of 5,500 will be postgraduate out of that, roughly. And somewhere 100 will be the PhD students, those who are pursuing their research. And mostly the 5,000 will be around, that will be the undergraduate students. And in that also, mostly they are right now inclined towards computer, IT, and all these related technologies. And so far as the articulation concerned, you know that for the Monash, we have 2+2 articulation right now. And last time also we have discussed that we are offering in software engineering. So just later on, maybe if you allow me, I can right now express my feeling regarding that. In fact, when we are going, this software engineering is becoming bit specialized. Say if it is a computer science, 2+2 computer science engineering, it become an open one. So in that you have software engineering, also you have artificial intelligence, also you have machine learning, also and later on they can think about having their specialization in post graduation. This is the chronology normally. So undergraduate should be general as possible. Postgraduate should be a little bit specialized, and PhD will be, of course, bit narrow down, converge into it. So in that will be.
I think it's actually quite straightforward. I think we would just do some mapping in relation to a more general undergraduate.
Right.
What's engineering? We're tightly bound by accreditation.
Right.
And
right.
That would be the defining piece that we need to have conversations about the that.
Right.
And certainly we can take it.
Right.
Because I would understand why that would be potentially quite popular, especially if we would do, you could also then look at 2+2 plus 1 or 2+2+2.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that will be wonderful, of course. And then subsequently, how we can add a few more programs.
Yeah.
This, as I said, 3.5 and this one again is for the computer science only.
Yeah.
So that also we can add into it for other programs as well. So that will be the basic point of discussion for today for my side. And then as the discussion will proceed, then we will be discussing further.
Let us give the minus.
The only other comment that I was going to make is that we have a faculty of engineering and we have a faculty of information technology. And I think one of the things we could also look at is some of those other further articulations that may come via information technology as well. But I think very good suggestions for where we could go to next. But we'll just need to do some of the mapping around those.
So just to stop you here, just for the School of Information Technology, what all the programs you must be offering there?
Okay, so that's a range of programs, and so I would mention it goes from very specialised computer science into a broader-based computer science degree, depending on whether students come in with cognate or non-cognate skills from school, and the same indeed at the master's level. We have work on AI, so we have bachelor's IT, AI, cybersecurity now is coming online as a specialised undergraduate degree, just because there's such extraordinary demand in the workforce around cybersecurity at the moment. They, of course, lead the software engineering work within engineering, so there's quite a lot of overlap between those faculties as well.
So the difference must be is 3 years or 4 years?
3. Mostly. So I think that they have one honours program that includes 4, but the rest are 3.
Okay, actually, I'm jumping the gun. I would have spoken after Dr. Singh, and he would have actually given you the backdrop of what I have to say, because what I'm trying to say is that true partnership is mobility both ways. And I'm sure you're aware where India stands today in terms of its economic growth and all the other parameters of national development. You've just seen how G20 happened and all that. So I would like to urge that you encourage your students to come and study in Amity. You have seen the place, you have seen the infrastructure, and Dr. Singh will tell you more about it in a bit. I only want to mention that this is the most opportune time for any student to come and study in India. Your students will be part of the winning team. This is the time to get a stamp of studying in India, because that will sell in the future. Right now, it may be a little hazy, but believe you me, 10, 15 years from now, this is the place. So it's any doting parent, concerned teacher, or wise student will come and study in India very soon. So soon we will, we are already we've got 37 countries represented on campus. We've got students from all over the world. We would like to have more from Monash, and you will see the benefits very soon.
So I don't know how often you use the term Dorothy Dix here, but I believe you just gave me a Dorothy Dix question. Myself and Sarah lead Australia's largest student mobility program. This year, we will send out 1,500 students to India, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Pacific. The vast majority of those will come to India, around about 400. We were just talking with Dr. Singh about the possibilities of working with you on that. And that's for a very clear reason. My deep commitment is that international education should never be linear. It should never be one way. And so we set about around about 5 years ago to completely break that model for the Australian sector, and we have largely succeeded. So this year will be 1,500. We expect by next year to be about 2,500. So what we do with that program is for students from right across the university. So we won't just send you engineering students or IT students or business students or public health students or art students, law students. We actually send them all. So this is a deeply interdisciplinary program. It is based on the Sustainable Development Goals, and it's about students, to be frank, getting India under their skin. What we ask them to do, and what this program, and Sarah can talk about this at greater length than I can, but there's a number of key elements that make a big difference. We work very closely with the Australian High Commission here, and we work very closely with industry and our university partners. We only go where we've got a strong university partner, and our students spend a lot of time in field sites. So we work really closely with civil society, with industry, with a range of places. It's all about the students getting their sleeves rolled up, and it's about students seeing themselves as part of the solution. And what their students are basically being equipped to experience is that unless they have a deep understanding, networks and relationships with India, they will not be able to operate effectively in the future. It is my dream that every Monash student will graduate having lived, studied or worked, and I have to show a slight split favouritism here, in Indonesia and in India. They are Australia's two biggest partners. They are two great democracies, and it makes a lot of sense for that to happen. At Monash, we have an appetite a bit like Amity. We don't believe that we change the world 20 students at a time. We believe we change the world generations of students at a time, and we recognise that our region, the Indo-Pacific, will be the most contested region of the next 20 years. And the only way that we will have peace and prosperity is that if our graduates, regardless of what industry they go into, I don't care whether they're going to be business people or they're going to be doctors or they're going to be architects, whatever they're going to be, okay, if they don't have an understanding of the region and relationships in the region, we won't be successful. Monash is the only research intensive university in Australia that is not linked to place. And that's because Monash is no longer just an Australian university. We are a truly global university, and we are not Sydney or Melbourne. Oh, here he is at the time. This is my good colleague, Professor Craig Jeffrey. Dr. Singh.
See you.
Lovely to see you. Colleagues,
Very nice.
perhaps around it.
Okay.
We were just asked a question about how about how we could be bringing more Australian students to India, and I explained to my good friends here that they'd just given me a great Dorothy Dixer because that was exactly the question I like to get. So I was just explaining that, you know, one of the things that we believe is important in Monash being a university that is not simply located in Australia is that we can offer something very distinctive to our students. And so precisely what you're suggesting is precisely what we set out to do about 5 years ago. And we expect those numbers only to increase. So as I mentioned, there will be around about 400 coming in this year. We would anticipate next year that will be somewhere between 800 and 1,000.
Thank you so much. I'm so relieved. I didn't know I was preaching the choir.
Yeah.
You already know this.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And actually, my slides and everything are of no use. You are already aware of all this. So thank you so much. And we're looking forward to your students, coming to our campus and make this place more multicultural and multi-ethnic and inclusive.
So a couple of things that I would observe that is super important to us is that we watch our students just completely transform as part of these programs. And one of the things that I think I would really welcome your advice and help on is invariably what those students say is, how can I come back? I want to come back. So what are my opportunities? They are really interested in coming back here and undertaking industry internships. They're interested in future study and exchange opportunities. So what I would be keen to do is for us to then say, well, we're bringing those students in for that short-term program to get that under their skin, because for many Australian students, they sometimes, while Australians are great travellers, they don't necessarily at about the age of 18 or 19 necessarily have the confidence to come and spend an extended period in India. So what the Global Immersion Guarantee is about is getting them that confidence, getting them that sense of connection, getting them to see the possibilities. And so I think one of the things that we could really work on then is what we can do next, how we make it easier for them to come back and do a semester in their Bachelor of Cybersecurity or in their Bachelor of Commerce and come and study back here. So that's what we would like to be able to achieve.
So thank you. I think that now everyone is here. So we will start formally with our discussions. We have a presentation, a small presentation, which will give you an idea about MIT, those who and what developments have taken place since we met last, and also the discussions which have taken place in the past few months and the roadmap, what we need to do. And then I would request all the colleagues from both the sides if they can introduce themselves after this small presentation, and then we can take it forward. So over to you, Marun.
Morning to one and all present. Today marks a significant moment as we have the privilege of hosting the prestigious delegation from Monash University. The visit is not only representing the spirit of academic collaboration, but also an exchange of knowledge, ideas, and experience sharing between our two esteemed institutions. Without further ado, it is my honor to welcome Professor Dr. Gurinder Singh Sir, Group Vice Chancellor, Amity Universities, to officially welcome the delegation and to give you a bird's eye view of the Amity Education Group. Over to you, sir.
Thank you and very warm welcome to our friends from Australia. I always say that Monash is very close to our heart. We have not only developed a strategic partnership with Monash University, but in the next 2 years, which are in front of us, we are taking number of initiatives. Very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of our founder, Dr. Chauhan, on behalf of our chancellors, Dr. Atul Chauhan, Dr. Singh Chauhan, trustees, on my own behalf as a group vice chancellor. And we have got now 13 vice chancellors, 16 DGs, and more than 8,000 faculty members. So on behalf of everyone, very warm welcome to our friends from Australia. It's such a pleasure to see one of our very close friends, Professor Pickering, who is not only a provost, acting provost, but also a senior vice president, Professor Jeffrey, who is a pro vice chancellor international, and we know the number of initiatives you have taken. I was sharing with Professor Pickering that a few days back, I was coming out of the Noida Mall, and I was showing her a photograph, and I saw a huge electronic board. So I think it's the biggest board which was showing Monash ranking, right? So I think that Monash is a household name, and we have seen in the last 1.5 months, 2 months, the number of students from MIT University. We have got about 10,000 students now, and we keep on looking at the questions. So my department was showing that there were 1,100 questions which we got on the number of programs we are offering jointly with you. So I think the future is very bright, and about 40 students of ours, they are coming to you in November. And when we was discussing, we will look forward to welcome your 400 students also, but we need to add 0 in front of 40, right? So that we are able to send you equal numbers. Professor Craig Jeffrey, good to see you. And the number of initiatives which you are taking in India, I think that it is giving a lot of cement to both the sides, and we look forward to develop it further. Professor Sarah, Pro Vice Chancellor, student experience. I personally feel that student experience is more important. And that is a reason that when everyone is concentrating only on dual degree, joint degrees and programs, we are concentrating in giving our students an experience. So we are starting our relationship with sending these 40 ambassadors from our side on a scholarship to you on the study abroad program. So they will be with you for about a month. They are coming in November. And I think that when they are there, they will bring back the stories of Monash, success stories. And then we are keeping 2 dedicated sessions. First time, any Indian university with Springer, Taylor and Francis, they are doing a research conference. And we are involving Australian industry, and it is happening at Monash. And both the sides are working on it. So I think some of the top researchers of the world, they will be in Monash from India, Australia, and from rest of the world. Leading publishing houses will be there, and friends from academia and industry, they will be Monash. And then in February, we are inviting you to be a part of our conference. So where I think about 20,000 people from across the globe will be coming, and one full session is on Australia, where Monash will be leading. So those are the initiatives which we thought that we will be doing. But very warm welcome once again to MIT family. Giving you the vision, MIT is founded by our founder, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, who after spending long years in Europe, he came back to Asia, to India, with a mission that we should be able to create an international group which can open up universities and can make a difference into the life of the students. Again, student experience was most important. We are not only concentrating on giving degrees, but research and innovation is in our DNA. So it's a research-centric university, which is bringing most of the innovative programs, which no other university in India and perhaps Asia is bringing in. For example, Professor Pickering, we share your vision. Every student of MIT gets an opportunity to go abroad. So all 210,000 students which we have, we give them an opportunity to go abroad. So even before we had an articulation, our students, they were going to Australia. And I remember, and I was mentioning to you, we remember having cricket match with Australian students at our campus who came under the New Colombo plan. This is what will give you the overview of MIT. 200,000 students, rather this time it's 210,000, more than 6,000 faculty and scientists, which are on full-time roles. Equal number is our adjunct faculty. We have got 11 universities today: Noida, Gurugram, Greater Noida, Lucknow, Jaipur, Mumbai, Gwalior, Kolkata, Raipur, Ranchi, Patna, Mohali, and Bengaluru. And the new one is coming in Hyderabad. So you can find only education group of India, which has got 11 universities, 12th coming up. Largest number of institutions in network, 150 institutions, and overseas universities. Again, the only group from India which has got a university status in London. We are at the Bradford Square. If you happen to be in London and you want to see British Museum, it is just at a walking distance, 250 meters from our campus. In Singapore, we have got a very strong presence. We have got about 8,000 students in Singapore. We have a humble presence in New York. We have got 172 acres campus, which was acquired by St. John's. So we have got a full campus in New York. We have got a university in Dubai. We are present in Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Mauritius, South Africa, Kenya, Amsterdam, San Francisco, and a new university at Tashkent. And we're looking forward to have a meaningful, very strong presence with you in Australia. And of course, we are trying to create a new university in Canada. 28 schools and preschools, largest number of schools and preschools, which also act as a feeder and very prestigious schools. In India, I think that you know that CBSE is the most reputed board, though we offer IB education also, where the thousands of students every year appear. And to top these schools in the board, it's a very prestigious achievement. From the last 5 years, our students of MIT International Schools, they have topped. This year, we got a distinction, first, second, and third in class 10th, first, second, and third in class 12. They were from MIT. So that is a kind of reputation our schools enjoy. 92% of our students, they got more than 95% marks. So brilliant students, and they act as a feeder to our universities and to our partner universities where they go. I was checking that how many students are interested in going to Australia. 13% of our students who are in school, they are interested in going to Australia. So which brings up again a point that Monash and MIT, they can actually do wonders if they are coming together. 2,000 acres of campuses, 20 million square feet of buildings, and these are all greenfield projects which we have been able to create. I was discussing with Professor Pickering that she was asking that what is going to be the fate of the Indian education in the view of the new education policy. I think that students want experience. So though a number of small institutions are coming in who don't have experience in international education and opening up a shop institutions in 2 room and 4 rooms, 6 rooms, I think the students love the experience, student experience, which is most important one. We need to give them the sports ground. When you came, you saw the energy in our sports ground. We need to give them the music room. We need to give them the theater room. We need to give them culture. We need to give them good labs. We need to give them incubator. So that is what we try to do. We are giving that kind of experience to the students so that they should have memories of lifetime, and they should not only get degrees, but they get student experience. That's what we are concentrating. Our business schools, and I can see Dr. Bansal, I was the dean of the business school sitting here. More than 4,000 case studies we have been able to publish. Dr. Meghna and Dr. Khattar, who are here, contributing quite a lot in these conferences and creating those cases. 400 research projects which are being funded by the government of India. We are currently doing, and I can see our director of biotechnology institution, Dr. Seema Bhatnagar, and from our psychology institution, Dr. Bhatia. They work very closely on various government projects, and that is what we try to do and achieve. Alumni across the world, and more than 215 patents have been granted. We have filed more than 2,004, and more than 215 have been granted to our scientists. This will give you an overview of MIT, that what we do. We are in every segment, right from the pre-nursery school. The vision of the founder, Dr. Chauhan, was that we should be able to give education to everyone. So anyone who is 2-year-old going to pre-nursery, we have got MEON, most prestigious chain of schools, MEON, pre-nursery schools. Then K-12 schools, undergrad programs, postgraduate programs, PhD programs, postdoctoral programs. We are the best in the country in distance and online education. Corporate training programs, where we are the largest partner of Government of India, and then continuing education. And for every vertical, we have kept some of the top professionals of the world with us who are able to bring the brand together and build it what MIT is today. This is a list of the recognitions which we have got. you will find all the most premium recognitions and accreditations we have been able to get, out of which two are the most important one. We work very closely with the American universities. So we have got the accreditation of WASC, and the only one in India which has got the WASC accreditation. As you know, that if you have to establish up a university in United States of America, you need to get the accreditation of WASC, and we have been accredited, and rather we have got a premium accreditation from their side. Similarly, since we work very closely with UK universities, we have got also the accreditation of the QA. By the way, we work very closely with TEXA also. We have seen your quality standards, all the 6 sets of standards, and we are trying to map our standards with the Australian education framework also. This is QA WASC, and of course, we're working with TEXA. And when I'm coming in November for our conference, we'll be meeting some of the people in TEXA also. I think that at that time, TEXA is also organizing their conference, and hopefully their chair will be there in Monash. So 3%, we are amongst the top 3% universities globally. We have got, as per the QS ranking and as per the THE ranking, and we are amongst the top 1% universities of the world if we look at employment. So this is the latest study and ranking which has come from THE. We have been able to produce the most employable graduates from India. Some of the public sector institutions who have got a big legacy and who are supported by the government, it includes IIT Delhi, ISC Bangalore, IIT Mumbai, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Bangalore. So these are the government institutions and very prestigious one in India. Only private group which was able to get the similar recognition, which has been able to produce most employable graduate, was MIT University. So this is an award which we got not only to file the largest number of patents with the government, but also to commercialize it. Our online MBA program is amongst the top 37 programs of the world, which is 0.2% of the programs which we have been able to create. If you get a chance, we'll take you to a distance learning department. I think few of your colleagues have seen it. We create world-class content. And this will give you an overview of our institutions. For example, our business school is the first and the best private business schools of the country. Our School of Communication, School of Biotechnology, School of Psychology, School of Engineering, amongst the top 3 schools of the country. Just to give you an overview that we are not only the best private university, but whatever we are doing, we are trying to benchmark ourselves by giving world-class student experience, research experience, and having meaningful partnerships. This is our photograph of our Dubai campus, just to give an overview that what kind of infrastructure we have been able to develop. That is a photograph of our Chancellor, Dr. Atul Chauhan, who is also a product of London School of Economics, was on the Forbes magazine front cover. And this is what we got, our award of providing the best infrastructure and human resources in Middle East. Our all campuses are US Green Building Council certified. We have got a platinum certificate. This is a photograph of the campus where you are sitting. It's 85 acres of campus. This is our Greater Noida campus, not very far away. It's just 15 kilometers from here, the 21 acres campus, where the new airport is coming up, by the way, one of the largest airports of the world. This is 40 acres campus we have in Lucknow. We call it as a White House of MIT. This is our Jaipur campus, which is 150 acres campus. It's a residential campus. Which has got a golf range in the campus. So next time you come, you can play golf with us there. Yeah, and this is our Gurgaon campus, Manesar campus, which is again a very entrepreneurial campus, 110 acres, which concentrates on interdisciplinary practice and research. This is our Mumbai campus. It's a 30 acres campus. If you happen to be in Mumbai, we would love to host you there. This is a 100 acres campus in Gwalior. Today is a rising day there. So while I'm speaking, our Chancellor is there. So he is going to speak to you a bit later. But he spoke to me on the phone and he said that once the function is over and once this event is, he'll speak to you. And this is our MIT University Kolkata campus. This is our Raipur campus, Jharkhand campus, Patna campus, and this is our new university in Punjab, Chandigarh, Mohali campus. So you will find that all campuses which we have been able to create, they're huge campuses. Because we think that student experience is very important. This is our new university in Bangalore. which has started this year. Again, a world-class campus designed by one of the leading architects from US. These are our other campuses in Ahmedabad, Bhubaneswar, Chennai, Kochi, Pune, Hyderabad, and Indore. And these are our international campuses. In Singapore, this was earlier the campus of Chicago Business School, MIT Mauritius, MIT New York, which was earlier the campus of St. John's University, MIT Nairobi, MIT Tashkent. After having very seriously taken internationalization and then expanding over the globe, we are trying to become partner of various governments across the globe. So Netherlands and Tashkent, we were privileged that their governments have given us a chance to partner with them. So we opened up a world-class university in Uzbekistan, in Tashkent, where the entire infrastructure has been given by the government, and we are providing intellectual resources. We've got more than 2,000 students today in Tashkent. Similarly, in Netherlands, we were given the infrastructure, and then we are now running our schools there. This is MIT London at Bradford Square. And these are our schools in Abu Dhabi, in Amsterdam, in Sharjah, in Singapore, in South Africa. And not only that we are present in the other countries, we are trying to bring some of the top brands like Monash to the various parts of the world. So we have brought Harrow, which is one of the most prestigious brands of the world. So Harrow schools are now in India, and next is in New York and in Dubai. By next year, they will be fully operational. In Bangalore, it's operational school now. And this is an international school which we have been able to create here. Now, what we are doing in Australia, I think this is most important, and what we want to do with Monash, and what has already been achieved, and what is the roadmap. MIT has been able to send the highest number of students from India to Australia in the last few years. More than 600 students from MIT family, they have gone to Australia. They have gone on study abroad programs. They have gone on articulation programs. They are doing their PhD with them. I was checking, there are quite a few who have gone to Monash on the articulation programs. One student is doing the PhD also. So that has already been done. But also we got a distinction of hosting highest number of Australian students in India under the India Immersion Program. So I think the vision of the foundation was very clear that we should be able to do two-way communication. We work very closely with the Australian High Commission in India. I will show you the photographs. Your High Commissioner was kind enough to come thrice to the university. Education counselor was kind enough to come. Rather, she invited me to run a marathon, which I couldn't, but I tried. So we know the kind of very close association. We are regular on the parties. One of our students who was in Australia and on exchange program with the Australian faculty and students, they were able to create a software for Vedanta and for AIMS. So that is a kind of association we are having. Another faculty of ours, Dr. Nirupma Prakash, she was doing a project in Australia on the social impact of immigrants. So I think that is how our faculty has been quite involved in Australia already. Presidents and vice chancellors of various Australian universities, they have been on the campus. We have gone there. And we have also have the Scopus Index Journal with the leading Australian universities. Now, what we are trying to do, and what are the opportunities which are in front of us? I think that the biggest opportunity which is in front of us is to see that how India is changing. India is changing very fast, very, very fast. Large number of students, they were going to Australia. But we want to create a model which is sustainable model. We saw our Honorable Prime Minister Modi making a statement that we want Australian universities to have permanent presence in India. And we know that there is a huge investment which is needed if an Australian university is coming and is opening up a campus. To open a campus like this, it will cost a moon. So we are coming up with a model which can be campus in campus. Like MIT has a desire that we should be able to go to Australia and offer large number of programs. We can support Monash, that both brands are coming together we can offer your programs. We can shortlist about 20 programs. We already have about 5. We can look at 15 programs, and already student interest is there. Right, we can dedicate some part. We can brand it MIT Monash, right, and can start offering it. So I think this is one point which we thought that maybe that we will discuss with you. But with the new education policy, this is possible, and this is going to make a model very economical, sustainable, and it will have a very strong presence of Monash in India and MIT in Australia, right? And hardly any investment from any side. So it's a win-win model without investments, and it will bring the faculties and the students much closer. But at the same time, we can think of, as we are going in various areas to offer joint degrees, twinning arrangements, and the dual degree programs. There are large number of students who want to go for twinning programs. For example, these students, when they are there, I think they will explore that can they do a semester with you and bring your credits, right? Can we do articulation, more areas of articulation where they can do 2 years there so that they can get some visa rights also in Australia, but also on joint programs, especially in research. Then we can also look at that if we can bring e-learning and technology into our systems. Can we do some, and can we take some initiatives where we can have fortnightly lecture series with Monash, where we can work together, where your faculty is speaking to our faculty. So as Professor Pickering, you were very rightly mentioning that ultimately it's not between the top leadership, it's between the faculty to faculty. It's going to be these deans and their faculty members who will be responsible for doing it. And that's the reason that these 40 students will be sending few faculty members, our world-class researchers who will be with you for a month and will be working on the number of projects. Also building consortium where we can do many projects for consulting and training. Right now, these are the programs which we are doing. We already have articulation in BBA, where 1 year can be in India and then 2 years can be with Monash. Or it can be 1.5 years and 1.5 years, or 2 plus 2. I think most of the students, they have shown interest was for 1 plus 2, and for your honors program 2 plus 2. Right, because after doing 2 years, there are advantages of working in Australia. Similarly, in engineering, we have got BTech in civil engineering. It's 2 plus 2 arrangement, which we already have with you, and BTech in IT, computer science and artificial intelligence, where 3.5 years with us, and then students are going for a 1.5 years with you. In biotechnology, Dr. Seema Bhatnagar has very recently concluded 2 plus 2 arrangement. And in psychology, we are having a discussion, and I think that this is one discussion which we need to close out, where large number of students who are coming to us in psychology, they would like to do 2 years with you. Discussions are going on, and similarly in mass communication, the discussion is open, and we want to close this discussion also on 2 plus 2 programs. We are exploring from both the sides on joint PhD and research initiatives. Campus in campus, which I have discussed with you. I think that today we will like to have broad understanding, and then you can take back this point, and then we will have further discussions. An accelerated master's program. We are starting up with a joint conference. So November is a grand opening, but then we will welcome you in February. But then this will be the annual event, which will bring Indian researchers to you, Indian academics to you, and then your academics to India. We're very happy that we have been able to start this relationship. And then good to see and know that 400 of your students would like to come to India. Let us know how this needs to be organized. We have got a wonderful program called India Immersion Program, having some knowledge of Australian academics and how students work there. We know that in November, December is the best time when the students, they come for their programs. We'll be able to design a meaningful program. We did this earlier also, where the students, they were working with the industry, having classes here. These are the photographs. We feel so proud, and this is Her Excellency Ms. Harinder Sidhu, former High Commissioner of Australian Commission. And that's what she threw a challenge that can you run a marathon? I couldn't, but we will make it a point that next time it happens, we are able to be as physically fit as Australian team is. But we enjoy a very close relationship with your embassy. They have been supporting us. This is our very good friend, Mr. Matthew Johnson, with whom we almost meet fortnightly, and we are working on a number of projects. And we look forward to further strengthen our relationships for all times to come. These are these people you don't know, right? So they are from Monash, but they keep on coming, and then we have been able to do many interesting things with them. Under the New Colombo plan, we have been welcoming a good number of students, but we would love to see more students. And the USA program, large number of US students have come to us. And the Erasmus Plus, we have been able to welcome largest number of European students. And the next year, we are sending a large number of students on apprenticeship program to Europe under the Hungarian touring scheme. We are the largest partner of the British Council. This is a photograph of our India immersion program very recently, last month only. There were students from 3 UK universities who are here, and we were very privileged that they became a part of our academic systems. In e-learning, where you showed your interest, we are not only strongest in India, but we are amongst the top players of the world. We implemented Pan-African e-network project, which was the project of Dr. Kalam, President of India. And a large number of thousands of students in Africa, we provided the free education. World-class incubator, a special skill and vocational trainings, 400 degrees across all the disciplines, and foreign business language to our all students. And these are the research centers across the globe. Nobel Laureate series, through which we call some of the leading Nobel laureates to spend some time at campus and become inspiration for our researchers. This is Ambassador Lecture Series, where ambassadors of various countries visit us. This is done fortnightly, and you can see US Ambassador, present US Ambassador, present UK Ambassador, present Australian Ambassador, and of course, large number of other countries presenting. And all this has resulted into excellent consulting, excellent training. Last evening, I wrote a post on LinkedIn on Deloitte, which was on the campus just 2 days back. And I got a reply from LinkedIn, which is there. If you go, you will find. They say that we feel so proud that we are being able to recruit largest number of students from the campus. But our aim is that we should not only be able to give degrees to the students, but should be able to touch their heart and spread them across the globe. Wherever they go, we should be able to make a difference in their life. And that is the reason that we collaborate with some of the top universities of the world, 400 universities we work. But anything we do worldwide, whether it's Africa, Australia, UK, USA, we feel that if we are not giving back to the community, we are not doing anything. And that is the reason that more than 3,000 students we fund every year, and more than 50,000 scholarships we offer to the students, through which we want that if we can help them and if we can make a difference in their life, then the purpose of the MIT Foundation will be fulfilled. This is the vision of the foundation: 35 MIT universities in every state and in every union territory, and 100 campuses across the country, and 50 campuses across the world. Once again, very warm welcome to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, respected Group Vice Chancellor, sir. I think this sets the tone for today's discussion. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to share a few thoughts and special addresses by our esteemed guests. We are proud that we have been joined by Professor Sharon Pickering, Acting Provost and Senior Vice President, Monash University. Before I invite you to speak, I'll just take you all through a very brief profile, because the list is endless, and the kind of achievements they have, it might take a little longer. Professor Pickering is a leading international scholar in the field of criminology with global expertise on border crossings, migration, and trafficking. Her work across criminology and higher education has attracted numerous awards, including an Australian Human Rights Commission Award, the Leanne Ranchfers Prize, the C.M. Alder Prize, and many others. She provides leadership of 10 Monash faculties as well as the university's international campuses. Without further ado, I hand over the stage to you.
Colleagues, thank you, enormously grateful for the very warm welcome we have received here at Amity this morning. I'm particularly grateful that that warm welcome comes as a series of engagements that we've had over the past little while where other colleagues have visited, but importantly, our discussions have yielded such excellent outcomes. One should never judge a book by its cover, but I believe when universities come together and assess, is this the kind of university that we believe we can do things with, you have to have a few things in common. For Monash, it has to be a deep and abiding commitment to making a difference in this world that goes beyond one's local environment but never leaves behind its local environment. And that commitment to our students and to our world and what we say at Monash for changing it for good is really central. And so that sense, and we get that sense from Amity. At Monash, we have to be very careful because our scale and our ambition to excellence can come across a little scary to some. To those that have tried to hold universities very small, that believe excellence is gained through exclusion rather than inclusion, that are afraid to talk about generations of graduates, it's difficult to comprehend a Monash University that for over a quarter of a century has been a genuinely global university. But in Amity, we see no fear of scale, and we see no fear that that comes at the expense of excellence. And that's what we want to hold. That you centre the student experience is very important to us. You do not transform lives simply by giving young people a degree, a piece of paper, a moment on a stage. As much as I want to believe that they will recall forever their lectures in first year chemistry or their second year tutorials in business, we know what they take with them out into the world is one another. It's all of the big experiences they get while they're within a university setting that makes a difference. That doesn't mean we don't want the very best curriculum we can possibly offer, but it's actually everything else we offer. And so when we drove in today and we see your students vibrant on your campus, when we think about the mobility of students and their ability to engage in a world that is beyond just them and their specific career aspirations, that's really important to Monash. So when we see Amity unafraid to be operating in multiple locations, when we see your commitment to ensuring the inclusion of all students, not just those who get to you fastest or who have the ability to pay. What I didn't mention to you about our Premier Global Immersion Program is that it's fully funded, because we do not believe transformative international education should be dependent upon means. Around about half of those students that we send on that program did not have passports before they went. Okay, thank you. So what we believe is that you can be a top 50 university and be genuinely inclusive. And that's what Monash is really about. And it's set about doing that as a truly global institution. And so when we look to partner, when we look to develop, we need to partner in ways that can sustain all of those pieces at once. And that is not easy. We know it's not easy because we've had to work on it for a number of decades now. And we've learned a lot in that time around things that work and don't work. And we recognise that the context in which we operate is also changing. I mentioned before to Dr. Singh that I am deeply committed that every Monash student emerges ready and able to work effectively across the Indo-Pacific. And that means they have to go well beyond disciplinary knowledge. That means they need networks and connections in India, what I believe is also in Indonesia, across Southeast Asia, and indeed deep into the Pacific. Australia and India have a particular responsibility. Our two nations sit in particular geographic places on that spectrum of where we want to realise peace and prosperity for the next 20 years. And that means our countries need major institutions that are willing to step up to offer the most critical education that is willing to engage in the biggest ideas, that recognises the disruptions that are coming and are willing to produce graduates that are capable of being architects of harnessing that disruption, not just being swept up by it. If our countries can figure that out, they need leading universities to do it. They need universities that aren't just finding their training wheels about the international presence right now. They need universities that have got that in their DNA, that don't actually see themselves as located in simply one place, but actually do see themselves in the service of peace and prosperity across our region. So when we're talking about our mobility of students, when we're talking about the kinds of research relationships we want and the kind of impact that we want from that research, when we think about the ways that our institutions can potentially work together, I actually think we need to think beyond our institutions. And I think that that's the opportunity for us to think through, is that kind of regional contribution that we want to be able to make, and that we believe working in partnership we can potentially make, at the very least in parallel. And that's very, very important. I think there's also something that I would like to call out that's very important to me. You've got to make sure you've got the same tempo. And I think when we are considering these big questions, we also recognise how quickly India is moving. We recognise that, and of course we're always attentive to that need for India to move quickly. And we recognise that might mean we need to also think about our tempo and the way we consider that. But when we come to you and we think about what we've got so far, I would alert you to something we haven't focused on yet in our discussions, and I'm keen for us to do, is that Monash doesn't just bring to this table a series of Australian campuses. It brings Monash University Malaysia, which just celebrated its 25th anniversary. It brings Monash University Suzhou. It brings our relationship with the IITB, which is a doctoral training academy relationship. And it now brings Monash Indonesia. Across that, we believe there are opportunities for us to think not just between India and Australia, but also in relation particularly to Malaysia and Indonesia. And I would be very keen that we factor those into some of our discussions and some of our thinking going forward, because we also recognise that international education will increasingly, as your Prime Minister has noted, will look east. When you look east, you will see Monash. You will see Monash in those places. And so I ask that we factor that into our conversations here today. In every way that we can bring our students more and more together, our students will be greatly enriched. When they are enriched, we are going to be an awful lot more successful. I am so grateful for the incredible warm welcome you offer us, but I'm most of all so incredibly grateful for the opportunities that stand before us, and I very much look forward to our discussions. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, some very precious pearls of wisdom coming from Professor Pickering. We thank you for your crisp address and for your most profound sentiments and commitments towards forging a very strong partnership.
Marut, I think that we'll start with the introduction of everyone.
Absolutely.
So we will start with our Australian colleagues, and then we will move towards our benches.
पहले मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि जब मैं यूपी में हूँ तो दिल लगता है, मन लगता है। दिल्ली तो अच्छा है, लेकिन मैं 4 सालों से मेरे तो बिजनौर में रहता था। मैं पिछले 27 सालों से आता रहा भारत में, और यहाँ पे मतलब जब में इतना दोस्ताना लोग मिलते हैं तो कितने खुश होते हैं. I just want to say this. I want to say this from the bottom of my heart because it ties in with something I was just explaining, that coming to Uttar Pradesh in particular, where I lived for 4 years, is like a homecoming to me. And while I enjoy Delhi, I think there's something about the atmosphere here, the friendliness of people. Uttar Pradesh, I think, is a wonderful place to be based, and I very much look forward to getting to know all of you a lot better, and very excited about this relationship. I just wanted to say 3 things. In a way, I'm a sort of insider outsider because I've only been at Monash for about 7 weeks. I've worked at lots of other universities, so I can give you. Professor Pickering has provided the official statement. I'm going to provide the unofficial statement as someone who's recently arrived. There are 3 things I've noticed. And the first thing is that Monash is a university that has a laser-like focus on excellence, particularly research excellence and how it then relates to teaching excellence. So one of the wonderful things I think about both of our universities, and congratulations on all the energy and initiative that you've taken. That focus on excellence really comes out loud and clear. And I think we know that only 3 or 4% of undergraduate students in the world have the opportunity to learn from research leaders and are invited into that curiosity-based, research-led learning that Amity offers and that Monash offers. I think that's incredibly important. And Monash always places that front and center. The second thing I've noticed is precisely what Professor Sharon Pickering just said in her speech. We are not an Australian university. We are a university of the Indo-Pacific. We are a university that recognizes always that talent is evenly distributed across the world, that we need to be working with people all across the world in order to study the major challenges that we're facing as countries and in the world, and that initiative, brilliance is emerging in all kinds of different places in a multipolar process of globalization. And that's something that I think is incredibly exciting. And really, if you look at the top 50 universities, I'm going to say this frankly, because, you know, I've just come there, but if you look at the top 50 universities in the world, I'm ready to be corrected. I don't think there is a university that is genuinely as global in its DNA as the university that you're hosting today. Seriously, sir, I would say, and please challenge me, because, you know, like if I'm giving a talk, I like people to challenge. You tell me the other one. This is not the PR. I'm saying I'm an insider outsider. And the third thing I've noticed, and it's really been extraordinary, and you know, Sarah and Sharon are very much representatives of this, is this real, genuine interest from the very top of the university, represented here by the provost, to everybody inside the university in India, and in understanding India a lot better and working with India a lot more closely. This is really exciting. And I think there is a moment of opportunity over the next 18 months and 2 years to do some extraordinary things. I think the challenge is going to be in your wonderful list, working out what's the order, what's the tempo, the how, but the why is completely sorted out. So I think, thank you for hosting us today. I'm tremendously excited about this relationship. I very much look forward to getting to know all of you a lot better as we fulfill the ambition that we see in the room today. Thank you very much, all of you.
That's quite a hard act to follow. Sorry, I have no Hindi. I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and thank you so much for your warm welcome. Much like Sharon arriving here today, you can feel the pulse of your campus. You can feel the beating heart that is your students, which is something that, as the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, student experience is so important to me and so important to our institution and to yours. I think there, you know, from what you were saying, Professor Singh, there were so many things that resonated, I think, with things that we hold really dear and see as very important around. We have such a privilege in having these young people with us. And it is our deep responsibility to support them and share as many opportunities for experience with them as we can. So those are the global experiences. There are also experiences in interdisciplinarity, in understanding themselves and what they offer, what they can bring to a challenge, to a problem, to a workplace, to a community. And we try and offer that in lots of different ways throughout our degrees. And while I don't know all of the insides and outsides of what you're doing from the things that you've talked about, it would seem to me that that is something that you are likely trying to do and achieve as well. I think I've had a relatively short history with India. I don't have the background that Craig did. I came here for the first time, and at the end of 2017, I think it was, Sharon, the very first time. And so many places we went and so many people we met with were incredibly open and generous to the idea of what we could do for young people in our region by getting them to move and have an experience outside of what is their norm, and how transformative that will be for the future of our region. So I'm very excited about what our partnership offers, and I look forward to being able to continue to work with you and see that coming up through our young people, through our students, and them moving it forward in more effective ways than any of us ever have. So thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Professor Pickering. Dhanyavad, Jeffrey ji. And thank you, Ms. Sarah. Because now already in the beginning itself, I had given you a glimpse of the institution I belongs to. I am Dr. Monash Pandey, Director of MIT School of Engineering and Technology. And apart from the points I have been put forward in the initial discussion, then the other areas that, as you had very rightly said, there are plenty of possibilities are there for collaborations, that in terms of the joint PhD guiding, joint research collaborations, and internships. Every year we used to have internships also. We can explore how we can have the joint internships from your university and us also. So these are some of the more areas where we can further explore for. So thank you for visiting MIT. Thank you very much.
Welcome to India. Welcome to MIT. Professor Sharon, associations and collaborations are always possible between like-minded people. So it was so good to see your determination and focus. And it's actually, we are also having the similar kind of passion and determination for our MIT students. Welcome. Professor Jeffrey, thank you so very much. Uttar Pradesh वाकई उत्तम प्रदेश है. उत्तम प्रदेश है. That is the best. Professor Sarah, thank you so very much for being here. On the lighter side, your surname is very popular in India, so it's a household name. In fact, I belong to a school where our journey started. The journey of MIT started from my school, MIT Business School. This was the first school of higher education in 1995. And then with the efforts of our group vice chancellor, Dr. Singh, now it is on the international map. We are now, I lightly say on all the forums, that we are now in all the 7 continents, including Antarctica. We have an expedition in Antarctica also. So my school has now, this is a school of business, and Professor G.V. Singh has actually put it on the international map across all the continents in number of countries. We have an old association with Monash. Professor Singh is very crisply, he has already defined all the possible areas where we can collaborate upon. In fact, I was also having the apprehension what Admiral Bhatnagar started with. But after listening to you, when you said 400 students would be coming to India, it's actually a very pleasant thing, and we are looking forward to welcome all these students. One of the areas where I actually wish is, though you are only offering UG programs, I actually look forward for the PG programs also. I am looking after a number of MBA programs. And PhD is one area where I definitely wish that we should be having joint guidance, where we can have guides from your university and vice versa also. This is one area, because research conferences and collaboration, this is something which is the requirement of the day. And I feel that if we enhance this area, this part of collaboration, it's definitely going to help us in many ways. So looking forward, ma'am. Thank you so very much for being there. Welcome.
Thank you, our esteemed guests from Australia. I have visited Australia, and it's such a beautiful and vast country. So, coming together with the Monash University and us is going to be really great. And as our group vice chancellor mentioned, that some of the programs have been finalized. Ours is one. I'm looking after psychology. I'm heading the Institute of Psychology. So last week only we have had a detailed meeting with Dr. Swati Majumdar, and there was one more person was there. Shanya. So we had a detailed discussion, and that's on course mapping. And yes, so be honest, applied psychology is what we are, initially starting with. And I can see a lot of promise in the program that Monash University and Amity University is going to offer. And I was really excited to learn when Dr. Singh mentioned about campus in campus concept. So I think that we have a long way to go together. And welcome to all of you once again. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. You heard me earlier, but I'm Rear Admiral Alok Bhatnagar. After doing about 4 decades in the Navy, I am fortunate to now be amongst youngsters and good young people and in the academic environment to learn more and open my horizons further. Welcome to Amity. And like I was mentioning earlier, I did not know that you are so much focused on sending students to India, and it's not for getting students here, but to give an opportunity to the entire world to be, get an experience in India, so that we can, progress together and address the bigger issues in the world as a world, not as countries. Like our Prime Minister says, we are one family, one world. So we have to do things together. While you're mentioning that we'll have 400 plus students coming to India, and I'm presuming Amity, but that is for shorter durations, as I understand. But getting them for longer durations will also be beneficial to them. And some of the apprehensions that I'm interacting with many universities abroad, are that what after doing the degree? Because in the case of Indian students, they go abroad for Australia or US or UK. They look forward to working there and then continue to stay there, maybe take citizenship, things like that. If that may not be the ultimate aim of a student to come to India, even then it is beneficial, because today it's a global village. You can work from anywhere, and being part of the ecosystem here, you can get easy employment in multinationals, which can be operating from here but can have employees from all over the world. So the opportunities are endless, and it is just the foresight that you already have is to be stretched to not short duration but longer duration courses as well. Thank you.
So welcome all of you. I am Dr. Seema Bhatnagar. I am representing biotechnology. I'm assistant director at Amity Institute of Biotechnology. And recently we've had a lot of discussions regarding the credit transfer for the 2+2 program, and we've signed the agreement. So we are very excited about it. Our students are excited about it. And in fact, many students are going to visit Monash in November, and the excitement goes to other departments. So they also got, they are also traveling from nanotechnology. Some students have discussed this, and they are also traveling in November. So, and also our faculty, they are frequently going to Australia for research collaboration. So we've had a long-standing relationship with Australia, and we want to develop this. And I agree with Professor Jeffrey, as he said, that research and innovation, that also should be a part of it. So we should also come together in the form of joint PhDs and those kind of arrangements between the two universities, and that will bring the faculty closer and will also bring a lot of crosstalk. So we look forward to those arrangements also in future, and the campus and campuses certainly welcome. I mean, we'll be very happy to have you at our campus. Thank you so much.
Very good afternoon to our esteemed guests from Australia. I think we had a very small talk in the beginning and all. We also are a very research focused university and all. So, keeping this spirit in mind, I represent the Amity International Business School, and I'm a professor there. So, I think so 7 years back, of course, it was Sir's vision, like when we merged and synced the business and the new age technologies. Of course, a lot of eyebrows were raised that time and all. And but now we are seeing the results, and I wouldn't say whether not only in India, I think across the world. Even now, the very few universities have done that, and also now is seeing the results, and the market has very well taken to this and all. So, of course, as far as the BBA is concerned, we have all possible, combinations: 1+2, 1+1.5, plus 1.5, and 2+2, and all. So, but what was more exciting was, I believe we have just started a 1 year accelerated MBA program and all, where the students can graduate at that same this thing and all. So that would give them the benefit of that time period, for this thing and all. So that is very exciting, I think so, which I think so last week it was discussed by your Dean Business and all. So I'm really looking forward to, carry forward this discussion, so it really should turn out to be something worthwhile. Thank you so much and welcome once again. Yeah.
A very warm good afternoon. Myself, Dr. Garima, and I'm heading international collaboration at MIT School of Engineering and Technology. And I'm working on 2+2 mapping with Avanti and Professor Dr. Greg. And this program we are tying up for software engineering. And as told by Dr. Pandey, we want it to be more generalized one also, so that few students are not interested might be in software engineering, so they can have in general computer science program. And I'm also working on mapping of 3.5+2, which leads to masters in artificial intelligence. And our CSC students and our artificial intelligence students are quite interested for this program, because they are going to save one semester, and they can start their master's degree from 8th semester onwards only. So these two programs, I'm currently working on the mapping, and very soon we are going to finalize both of them with your team, because they are working very hard. Because your software engineering program is basically specific or specialized program, and they, as per the last email I have received, they are saying that it can be covered up in 2.5 years, but we are trying to reduce it to 2 years so that benefit can be taken by the students. And extra courses which they require, we try to finish up it in summer semester. So before going to Monash, student will cover up those credits in summer semester, so that that degree period will not be increased. So we will focus on 2+2 only. So this is from my side. Thank you. Again, welcome to Amity.
I appreciate the creativity that is going to finding those solutions.
Very actively involved in that process.
So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Meghna. I'm professor in the area of strategy. And what an auspicious day to talk about our relationship. As in India, today we celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi. And that is where we worship Lord Ganesha. And Lord Ganesha is a god of good luck, good fortune, prosperity and wisdom. So what a beautiful day to talk about our relationship. The institute that I represent is Amity International Business School, wherein Kankhat has already talked about. In addition to that, having said about that, we incorporate data analytics and artificial intelligence in management program. So when I'm saying about management program in business intelligence, data analytics or artificial intelligence, it's what big deal. But then the beauty of this program is that we launched these programs 7 years back. These program has taken birth on Group Vice Chancellor's table on 7 years back, when he was sharing with us that we want to start a program in management in artificial intelligence. And as rightly said by Kankhat, everybody, the eyebrows were raised. How can we offer management? Today, I so proudly say that we have the largest number of students in these programs. These are the innovative programs which we offer under Amity International Business School. In addition to that, our flagship program, BBA International Business. Then we also offer BBA Digital Marketing, which has been very, very well taken by the student. We have your innovative program, that is BBA 3 Continent program. in which a student, they cover their entire program by being in 3 continents. They start in India. So part of the program is in India, then to UK, and then to US and Canada. And under, again, able guidance, I will talk about, we are starting 7 country program in management program. In addition to this, you'll be very happy. You talked about research, and we have excellent cell in research and other SIR's able guidance. We organize IEEE conference, Springer conference, and of course Taylor and Francis conference in every country where our students are going. Australia being a very favorite destination for our student, then they'll be visiting you in November as part of study abroad program and a conference also. Along with that, very innovative program, we have industry academia partnership model, under which to sync our thought with SDGs, so Sustainable Development Goals, we started a program that is green technology. So climate change and green technology management. Under that, we have started excellence programs in sustainability management, wherein which has been supported and funded by with academia, and of course all the excellence and expertise supported by the industry. So this is the kind of holistic model which we offer, and we are looking forward for a very fruitful and meaningful partnership with Monash, which we already have, and I'm sure we'll take it to the newer heights. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'm Marut Bisht. I represent the Office of Group Vice Chancellor. I'm also an alumni of this great institution. So look forward to more collaborative initiatives with all of you. Thank you and welcome.
Good afternoon. We are delighted to have you here amongst us. So I am Mohini Bajaj. I am working closely with our Group Vice Chancellor's office, and also additionally looking into the IAD affairs. So we are really looking for your presence in India. Thank you so much at Amity University.
Good afternoon. We have already met. Such a warm welcome. Great to have you on a great day today. I'm Kanishk. I represent the international office, working with Group VCs on international expanding Amity's international footprints. With Monash, we're very happy to see that we share the same passion. We've been working very quickly. It's not every day that we are able to sign 3-4 articulations in such a short duration, but we appreciate your passion in this direction, and we're all up for it, and we now look forward to making this happen. Thank you very much, and we look forward to the rest of the engagements today.
A very good afternoon to everyone present, and we welcome you all to India. I am Dr. Tamanna Saxena from Amity Institute of Psychology and Allied Sciences. And along with ma'am, we are representing our institute. And as mentioned, we are in talks regarding the articulation. Last week also, we had a meeting regarding the same. I think you're on the verge of completion of this same. We are looking forward to a 2+2 and a 1+2 articulation. We have started on with our BA Honours Applied Psychology program. At our institute, we are offering a lot of programs related to psychology. We have applied psychology. Along with that, we also have our master's program. And at the bachelor's UG level, we also offer clinical psychology. So as of now, we have initiated the applied psychology domain, but we do look forward to other aspects and other domains of collaboration, because as we all know that psychology is one field which is like spoken about at every area, every domain, and I think it's the need of the hour. And that is how we really look forward to our programs. And our students are very passionate about knowing about various cultures, inculcating it into their knowledge base, into their learning. And as sir also mentioned, and as ma'am was also mentioning, at Amity, we lay a lot of emphasis on not just the theoretical domains, but a lot of practical application. And research is one domain that we very well look forward to. So I think that is what, so we really look forward to this partnership. Thank you so very much.
So thank you for those introduction. And we have got 2 students there who will be coming to Australia as our student ambassadors. So very warm welcome to you also. But I think that we need to now have make an action plan that how we should progress. So we will be dividing our action plan into 3 parts. One are the low hanging fruits, so that we should be able to achieve that in a very short run. So from now to 6 months, what we are going to achieve. Then we are looking at an action plan, strategic planning for medium term, which is for the next 3 years, from 6 months to 3 years, what we are going to achieve. And then it's long term, that beyond 3 years, what we are going to do. So I think that in a short run, whatever we have already articulated, so I think very short run, I think that we are tasting the culture, and 40 of our students, 40 to 50 of our students, I think that already we have got the names. They are from psychology, they are from the business school, they are from engineering school, large number of students, very good number of students from biotechnology. So we have very particularly picked up from the various streams, and few from law school also this time. So we have picked them up, so that once they are there, then they should be able to understand and they should become the brand ambassador. So that is very short run. November, they will be with you. Second thing which we are doing is that any partnership we start with research. So this is a initiative, and our teams are working day and night on it. On the research conference, I know that your teams have been working quite rigorously. So which is going to bring all the Australian and Indian universities together, which are being led by Monash and MIT in November. So this is very short run, which we are concentrating, and then we are calling you to head the Australian research conference, which we are organizing in February. So which will put our all initiatives in line. And I think that by February, we will be able to finalize everything. Right. So whatever campus in campus or your students coming in. So if you can let us know that how you want your students to come experience, then we will start working, and we can have then fortnightly meetings that how your 400 students, once they are here, then how we need to welcome them. They are coming from various streams. We will be very happy to organize a program. Also, any other area where you feel that we can cement it, and then we can create a business plan. I think that this is very important for us, that how many students we want, which stream to concentrate at, how the first part is being delivered, and then how the second part is going to be delivered there, so that there is a smooth transition. So looking at the numbers, looking at the research interest of both the universities, also mobility. I think then we will create a small document we will send to you. If there are some financial implications, we can have those at an apex level separately. But these are the few points which I thought that I should bring out before you go. We should be able to create this strategic document from both the sides, for which we can take it forward. Over to you. We'd like to hear more from you.
Look, I think that is an excellent list, and I think the timeframes that you suggest there are entirely appropriate. I would simply add in there a couple of things. I like to, of course, we like everything to be successful, but if it's not successful, we want to fail fast. Okay, so we learn. So when we're thinking about the various articulation agreements, if we feel that what we have developed is not meeting the needs of students, I would rather adjust, move, change it, get it so that it will meet their needs. So I would like to sort of signal that. So the sooner we can get a sense from your student appetite, what is meeting their needs and what is not, I'd like to be able to always keep recalibrating. If there are particular areas which we feel we haven't touched on in relation to the articulations that we could or should have touched on, I would like to be able to include those. And that might mean simply those where we have looked at the 2+2s, but it's possible for us to look at 3+1s or 3+2s, then I'm quite keen to do that as well. So let's just make sure we've got that articulation space really well rounded out. I would then suggest that we think about the research piece very seriously together. And there's two comments that I would make there. Whenever you bring together colleagues in relation to their students, that's our glue, if you like. I would be very keen for us to look at the areas where we've been able to identify the articulation agreements and think, where could we hang off some of those research opportunities in relation to that? Reflecting what Craig mentioned before in terms of what's important to Monash, that's kind of breathing for us. The research teaching piece, that's breathing. We want to be able to then launch forward further. So let's think about those research areas. But I would just flag with you, Monash has made a very big commitment in 3 big global challenges: climate change, geopolitical security, and thriving communities. And perhaps we could use those as ways to consider how to thematically perhaps organise some of the conversations with our colleagues around what may indeed be possible. I think the work around doctoral students is a very important suggestion and one that we should take a look at. We've got some excellent colleagues leading in the graduate training space, and I would be keen to introduce them into the discussions between our organisations. We've learned a lot about joint doctoral programs over the years. We've learned a lot about the ways that we can best support students and faculty in terms of those. And it would be great to consider how we might like to do that. I'll make a couple of observations. The first is we only want to do it in cohorts, not as individual students. Okay, students that are part of joint doctoral programs often find it much harder to find their people. I have a little saying: students only come to university for two reasons. One is to be inspired. Two is to find their people. So that's my little mantra. But I would be keen that we think about cohorts. We think cohorts that are really strongly industry facing. Okay, let's look at the fantastic doctoral work we can do engaging with key industry partners around some of those big global challenges. I just kind of, put that in your head, to consider. I think then with those pieces, you rightly say, in the next 6 months, that allows us then to chart forward on some of those really big, important questions around things like a campus in campus. You and I are in furious agreement about perhaps where some other Australian universities have gone, and Monash is not going there. We broadly agree with your assessment, and that's very important to us. What that means is, for us, we need to be more creative, but Monash is always in it for the long term. We're always in it for the long term. So we want to get those things right. We want to get those things in place so that not in 5 or 10 years, people who replace us because we're not getting any younger, people that will be taking it strongly forward for decades to come. So I think that they are a very, very important piece. In terms of the student mobility, we will have the Director of the Global Immersion Guarantee and Sarah engage with you in relation to that. That's a very straightforward piece. And I think they would absolutely love being on your campus here, but I also note some of your other campuses. And so I would just signal to you that we would like that conversation to be an expansive conversation. And that we also then build into that conversation further industry-based experiences, return opportunities for study. If you think about how do we bring more Australian students to study in India, it is through those initial experiences that we will build the confidence and the connections for them to do so. That's our springboard. So let's use that and let's really structure those future opportunities in. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think there are 3 points which you have highlighted. One is that where the articulation is still pending. So psychology is one area where Dr. Bhatia and Dr. Tamanna, they are already working. So let's quickly try to finalize it. And we have kept some time frame. We are working on it. So I'm sure that in the coming 2 weeks, we will be able to finalize it. So if they have to give brief comments, I would request them that if they can comment on it. Secondly, on the climate change, I think that we are doing a lot of work. So climate change, green technology and sustainability management. These are the 3 areas where we are putting a lot of emphasis. Rather, we have got a school in the US, which is working on sustainability management only. We work with Presidio, which we have acquired. So we have got long experience, and also with 2 leading companies, public sector companies, who are funding our Center of Sustainability Management. These are the areas which are very close to the heart of our Honorable Prime Minister. And our founder, Dr. Johan, has specifically requested all the young researchers to work on it. So this is one area where we'd like to develop a program jointly with you. And Dr. Meghna, I know that you have been working in this area. We would like to take it forward. I would also request Dr. Bansal that a large number of faculty members from the business schools, we have got a number of business schools. So we will identify, we will send you a proposal. So for psychology and for communication, I think that right now articulation was going on. So we will finalize it. We are keeping about 2 weeks to finalize it. For sustainability, climate change management, we will send you a proposal. Good. And 2 more areas, which I think last time when Dr. Greg came, he was highlighting was, one was law.
Yes.
So I think that is one area which we'd like to explore. So we are keeping next 3 months for law faculty to come. So these are the 4-5 areas which is a part A of the discussions, but that will be a part of our document.
Yeah.
We will send you.
And our law qualification is, of course, recognised in India. So that's a very important piece, and that we have both an undergraduate and a postgraduate qualifying degree in law that hopefully will be useful as we map that particular articulation. But that all sounds absolutely excellent. In terms of mass communications, we have undergraduate degrees in media communications. We also have postgraduate degrees in strategic communications as well. So I consider that very incredibly straightforward in that regard. So, and I imagine would be very popular with students as well.
And your idea of involving your Malaysian campus,
yes,
and also Indonesian campus, and hopefully your MIT India campus, right? We will like to work on.
So to give you an idea,
and this is our chancellor also. I think that he wants to speak to you. Hello. Yeah, we are having discussions, and Professor Pickering is here with me. Should I put you on a yeah. Right. 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 Okay. E-launch. E2 launch. Right. 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 Absolutely. Right. Great. Fine. Thank you. He's wishing to meet you. We had a raising day celebration, so which he was attending. But then he's saying that I'm coming personally to greet you. So, so next 15 minutes he will be here. So we initially thought that he will be discussing virtually, but he said that since you are here, we would like to personally welcome.
That would be wonderful.
Right.
Really
Yeah.
lovely.
Right.
Thank you.
But I think
appreciate it.
thank you. But he's coming to say hello to you. But I think these are the few points which we thought that initially our immersion program where the students will be with you, then articulation programs where we have already finalized, and the areas where we have yet to finalize, we will request our colleagues to tell us that where we are, and then any other area where you feel we need to work on, we would like to work.
So I'd like to introduce another piece into our discussions. This is very important given a number of the excellent faculty members that are here today. So my own personal background has been a career deeply committed to the rights of women and girls. I have always worked in relation to gender, and in particular around the criminal justice system. And one of the things that I have been acutely aware of as a university leader has been the way in which we engage girl children in the prospect of higher education, and the way that we support them in coming into higher education because of the transformative impact that can have. I mean, I believe education has a transformative impact on everyone, but I do believe there is a significant impact, particularly for girl children. So I am particularly keen that Monash is a leader in this space, and with my colleague Craig, we are really working on how we will make a real priority the experiences of young Indian women who join us at Monash, and we want to look at some very particular programming around there. The other piece that I would also mention to you is that Monash has been a very unusual university over the past decade, and that is because we were the first research intensive university in Australia, the first group of 8 university to be led by a woman. Of course, Professor Margaret Gardner has gone on to just recently be appointed the Governor of Victoria. But in her time, of course, not only was it her leadership, but the Provost, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Education, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Research, the Dean of Medicine, the Dean of IT, and indeed, until recently, the Dean of Engineering, and I'm focusing on those faculties in particular, were all women. So the other piece that I would like to flag with you is that we are very keen to engage with you about the role of women in higher education as students, as faculty, that we want to be part of being able to make whatever contribution Monash can make in supporting and engaging the next generation of female leadership, you know, right across the country. And I would just simply flag that we believe that we have something to offer there, and we would be very keen not only to learn more, but to contribute in whatever small ways that we can, be it from our own experience, but also from our experience across our campuses. Our Malaysian campus is led by Professor Adiba, who of course is a leading expert in the field of public health. And we're keen to engage with higher education in these particularly, I think, transformative ways. So I'd flag that as well.
Professor Sharon, you spoke about women empowerment. In fact, today it's actually a historical day. In our Parliament of India also, we are putting women reservation bill, which is being today only. 33% reservation for women. It's incidentally today only.
Thank you for sharing that.
As far as articulation of our program is concerned, we are psychology, honors, applied psychology honors, and we are at the last stage. The last meeting that we had with Swati Majumdar was, like she had some doubts related to evaluation and assessment. What some small questions she had. So it was almost a 1 hour long meeting that we had. So from our side, it is all clear. Whatever documents, syllabus and all that she wanted, that we have sent. And based on the syllabus and her observations, she wanted to have an online meeting, which was held last week. And we have cleared everything, all doubts. So everything is through as far as we are concerned.
That's excellent to hear. And I will put Dr. Greg on that case to make sure everything is cleared at our end as well.
Okay.
Thanks, Sharon. I just wanted to make another couple of quick points. One relates to the emphasis that you placed, Professor Singh, on the national education policy. And I think at Monash, we're very, very interested in terms of your 3-year time cycle in thinking about how the work that we can do with you can become a showcase for implementing aspects of the internationalization agenda as it relates to the national education policy. I'm really interested in the 4th year, research year, and that as a point of potential focus for us in the collaboration. I'm really interested in, you must already be the example that ministers are talking about when they're talking about internationalization, national education policy. I think there's a great deal we could do here and would be very excited to take forward those conversations with you. The other point I just wanted to make related to the Uttar Pradesh point and your being in Noida. I think we're really interested in Monash, not only in bringing students to India, but bringing students to Noida and thinking about the role that your university plays as a kind of anchor for its local community in terms of the people you employ, in terms of the students that you enroll, in terms of the scientific, social, economic and cultural benefits you provide to your immediate area. So that's a real ambition, is to explore how that plays out in Melbourne and in Noida, and how we can give students that sense of being embedded in place, not just being in India or learning about Indian culture, but learning about Uttar Pradesh, learning about Noida, learning about the particular configuration of India that they get coming here, or indeed differently to your other campuses. I'm a geographer, so excuse me being a little bit passionate about this, but I think this will be a nice element to build into our programming as we think about the articulation agreements and the campus within a campus, which incidentally I think is a brilliant idea.
Yeah. So good. From biotechnology, what action plan you have?
So
this is a very important visit and very important delegation. Please carry on. You can come here. Why don't you? I can see from here. I can see from here. Yeah, take it from the good. Today was a blazing day. I see. Yes,
Dr. Singh, this is one of the most important delegations that is coming. And we are so delighted by our various parties. Thank you so much. So, yes. Yes.
Chancellor, we have from the first meetings that we had with Amity, and what I've shared with your colleagues, is we had a very strong sense of two universities who were somewhat cut from the same cloth. We are not afraid of scale, but we will never take our eye off excellence. But we're also here to transform lives and communities. So we want to take everyone with us. And that means we're trying to have a really big impact in our world. And we're going to hold those things all together. I've really stressed, Chancellor, that when we come to you and we're in conversation with you, we are not in conversation with you as an Australian university. We're in conversation with you as a global university. And I can see you're in conversation with us as a global university.
Absolutely. So, good afternoon, all. Yeah, how are you? Great. You know, Monash is a university, Dr. Singh, that you know that I have great regard and respect for. And what Dr. Pickering has said, Monash is a global university, not only in Australia, but Malaysia, Indonesia, Suzhou, China, other parts of the world. And what many people here may not know actually is that we have a partnership with Monash also in the world of online, where Monash has come as a partner through a platform called Avenue in the United States into our OPM Univo, which is transforming online education. So Monash also has a wonderful center with IIT Bombay, which is producing excellent research. So Dr. Pickering, I agree with you. Your global approach, your eye on excellence, your focus on research, but being a global top ranked university with an eye on student outcomes, our DNA could not be more aligned, you know. So, and we welcome you, and it's wonderful that you are here. And it is these visits that actually catalyze the agenda and take it forward, you know. So, Dr. Singh, as I told you on the phone, I want to listen a little bit. What has now been discussed? I know that the BBA International, the BTech Computer Science and IT Articulation programs, the Masters in Artificial Intelligence, and now we are mapping out the Psychology undergraduate program. But if you can brief me a little bit, you know, where do we stand as of now?
Thank you, Chancellor, and it's really a privilege. It was a rising day, and I know that how busy he was. But since Monash is very close to his heart, and we are doing so many exciting things, we are really privileged that you took time out of your busy schedules. Thank you very much. With Monash, so far we have divided ourselves into three parts. One is very short term, and short term in the long run. Very short term, we already have a relationship in distance learning education and online education on which the different teams are working on. But with the university as such for our main programs, we are starting up a relationship by sending about 40 students in November. So that's a very, very short run. First step we are taking, that students should be there and they should become our brand ambassadors. So, and we are organizing one research conference with Springer and with Taylor and Francis. So idea is that whatever we do to build up the articulation program, to communicate it to our thousands of students who are interested in going to Monash, we should be highlighting our strength, that this is an academic university focusing on research. So this is very short run, the first step which we have already taken. In the business management, articulation is completed. There are students who have already enrolled in this program who want to go to Monash. In the area of biotechnology, we have completed, and I think that there are about 9 students who are going to Monash. In area of engineering, we have already completed the articulation, where I think that there are about 13 students who have shown interest to go, but then we want to build it further. But they will be part of the study abroad program where they are going. In the area of psychology, we are yet to finish up the program on which Dr. Bhatia and Dr. Tamanna, they are working on. And from the School of Communication, these are the two pending agenda points where we are working. But broadly, we are also working on that how we should be creating a strategy which can bring MIT and Monash closer. So discussions are going on that why not to have a campus in campus. Both the universities can come together and can create a ecosystem where hundreds of students can get an advantage. We know that what they are doing in Malaysia, in China, and in Indonesia. So why not to have MIT Monash in India? So that is a broad understanding on which we are working on that how we should work together. They're also bringing 400 students to India, on which we are trying to make an action plan that when they are there here from December to March, then how we should be working on these initiatives. These are the broad initiatives on which we are working. And in February, they are coming with the delegation part of NBush, where the ambassador will be a part of our research conference, where we will make some more broad announcements. And by the time, medium term and long term strategy will also be finalized.
Right. So in all of this is good. All of these are worthwhile objectives to follow. But my feeling is that when Monash is looking at India, as Dr. Pickering just said, they're not afraid of scale. So we should look at what we can do so we can get scale. Because I think whatever we do, if it is in bigger numbers, it moves the needle, it is more joyful for everyone. So I think the conferences are high, the application programs, you need to see. But just keep in mind, and as a plan, what can we do to get a larger number of students involved? And the business model, the partnership model should revolve around. What I can say in India, we have a presence or a partnership which is X number of students, and this is the impact that may be more joyful for Dr. Pickering and the team, than saying it's smaller. So, but I would like you, Dr. Pickering, maybe your thoughts. What are the priorities? What are the objectives? What would you like to achieve in India, particularly?
Chancellor, I am delighted to hear your reflections, and I guess what I will probably do is I'll loop back around to something I shared with your colleagues before. And in order to adequately respond to your comments there, which I very much welcome, agree with, and look forward to going forward with, is that the reason Monash has the focus that we do, and the reason we're not afraid of scale, is because you and I and our two universities will not change this world 20 students at a time. We will only change it generations at a time. And so if we want to move that needle, as you say, we need to do it in large cohorts, but never, ever resiling from the excellence. And we've got to think about how we can do it differently. Both of our universities, it would seem to me, have done very well at interfacing strongly with industry. We have done very well at taking diverse communities with us. We have done very well at thinking about how do we produce graduates with great disciplinary expertise, but who don't have the blinkers on, who are able to go out into the world and to see the complexity of problems and recognise the importance of the complexity of those solutions. The reasons that we are committed to running at excellence and scale is because, as I mentioned before, we are sitting in the region that will be the most contested region of this world in the next 20 years. If we are going to, as universities, contribute to peace and security and education, and universities are the most powerful tool of soft diplomacy that our nations have, then we can't be doing this 20 students at a time, and we can't be doing it sometime in 5 or 10 years from now. There is an urgency and there is a scale that we need to attend to if we are not just paying lip service to the challenges that we face, but also what are the expectations of our young people and of our faculty. People are increasingly judging our universities in terms of what is their purpose and what are they serving and do they wish to be aligned with us. And I think there is a real opportunity for us to walk towards the generations of students that will make a difference to our region. So I encourage us, we're not just looking to go to scale and to be excellent at scale because that's what we do. It's because we are seeking to do it with a purpose. And that is the peace and prosperity of our region. And at this point in time, it is only Australia and India that can do that in education. And if we can do that together, then we are better. We are much, much better for it. And if Australia and India need to do that in education at this time, we've got to ask which institutions can confidently step forward into that space. They're currently in this room.
There are not many. Wonderful. I think we'll give a clap to Dr. Pickering's views. Very absolutely agree. Dr. Singh, who is looking after the Masters in Artificial Intelligence? Who is someone in the room who is? You're looking after that. Last week, Dr. Pickering, I was a guest of Sir Richard Branson on his private island, Necker Island, in the British Virgin Islands. So he had invited 30 people from around the world, and I represented India in a way, and we had a brainstorming around artificial intelligence and what impact that will have on education and healthcare. So the head of Microsoft Artificial Intelligence was there. I mean, amazing. The founder of Moderna vaccines, the #1 gene editing expert in the world. So really great minds. And, you know, we all deliberated the impact of AI. So that is another area that I think we can and should work on. And it's early today, but I think scale may come in that area also. And as everyone said, India will be supplying great manpower in that particular field. And I think Monash also has very good programs. So that is one area, Dr. Singh, that I think we should also look at for the future, that, you know, we can build this particular area up, and we'll be investing much more. As you know, we have already invested in a very good center here in the AI center. M.K. Datta is not here, no? No, he's not here at the moment, but he's working on that center. So these are areas that we can build scale in the times to come. But I agree with you, Dr. Pickering, that if there are institutions that can achieve these objectives of quality at scale, then, you know, Monash and Amity is now, it is a matter of, and we have an amazing team here who is contemplating how to achieve it, how to do it. And then you have shared with Dr. Pickering that in our national regulations, there's a lot of dynamism and change now. And, you know, what was not permitted earlier is now being permitted and allowed, which opens up avenues for us to do much more. And there are a number of universities that are approaching us about opening campuses in India with a broader presence on ground. So at the right time, you know, and it does not have to be immediately, but at the right time, if that is something which Monash is contemplating, we could work with you to, you know, facilitate on the ground, may it be helping with the rules and regulations, which, you know, still is in some ways work in process, and, you know, but having a local partner to help understand what all that means is helpful. But then also infrastructure, facilities, and all of that we could, you know, possibly support if that is eventually one of the ideas that Monash would want to do. So, Dr. Singh, let's continue with, you know, your deliberation and your, you know, brainstorming wherever you. Yes. Yeah.
Chancellor, I want to reflect on your comments on AI. This is something that has been somewhat of a preoccupation for us, along with many other educational institutions. We've had a number of conversations while we've been in country over the last couple of days. It is incredibly important that our graduates in AI are the absolute best, and we think about how we structure that experience to ensure that. But I think one of the things that we could consider together in terms of our future is actually asking ourselves the question, that question in two other ways. What is AI going to be making possible in our world that means we have to completely reconceive of the way that we design, deliver and realise education, a university education going forward? The second piece is, how do we ensure that whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or an architect or whatever you might be, the way in which you are able to effectively harness AI? Because there will be so much that if you cannot harness it, well, there's actually quite a bit that may well be able to be done without you. And so what we want to be able to do is to be able to create graduates that are able to pull that power together, not necessarily as the creators of AI or the builders of AI, but of those people who are able to harness it for the purpose of whatever their role might be. So as we think about our curriculum, as we think about our student experience, as we think about our industry interface and so on, I think we can think of all of those things. I don't know whether our friends from Moderna that you spent some time with last week mentioned that their first ever manufacturing facility in the Southern Hemisphere and their first ever manufacturing facility in the Southern Hemisphere on a university campus is at Monash.
So
That makes me very happy because we've given them quite a lot of land.
it wasn't a coincidence that I mentioned, but
Yes.
you did in passing mention this that and therefore I think there are a lot of synergies in that area, and you're right, it's not the programming but the practicing and how do you implement that, and so it's an interesting. So Dr. Singh, can you please now continue in the discussions? What is the next step? Where do we go from there?
I think that I would request now all the schools very briefly, if their action plan, we'll start with the MIT Business School. What is your action plan? Short term, very short term, long term. And then psychology, we'll come to the engineering school, biotechnology.
So as discussed, ma'am, Sharon, as we discussed, initially, I mean, after these 40 students who will be visiting Monash, then thereafter we are looking forward for welcoming your 400 students for India Immersion Program. And then as I have requested you, we should be looking forward for something in PG programs also. As of now, we are only having UG program. And then definitely I'm looking forward for your association for our research program, especially in PhD, where we can collaborate as joint guides. So this is basically something which we are planning. And once we start with, then definitely sky's the limit.
Good afternoon to all of you. As I mentioned earlier also, we have done the final round of articulation. We had a meeting last week with the meeting was basically attended by Swati Majumdar. And prior to that, we had sent the syllabus that they wanted for BA Honours Applied Psychology. And they have, Swati had a couple of questions related to our assessment scheme and, the lectures and tutorials and practicals. So all the doubts were cleared. And from our side, everything is now done. And now they have to give a final clearance, and then our students can go for BA Honours Applied Psychology to Monash University. 24 years. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So, what is the discussion that we have in terms of price scaling, industry, large number of right students who participate? Because, as you know, the price point is the same as you don't have in Australia. The market then for mathematics brings to a size that does not speak to great volume. So, have we had some discussions around that?
We have, but I think that financial part was being discussed next level. So, but we would like to hear from you.
Our experience has been in other parts of the world where we are operating successfully is that we have to meet the market. Okay. But what we want to be able to do is we want to meet the market and lift the market as always. So we would be looking at that. Our whole pricing and scholarship strategies will have to be very carefully nuanced. Of course, we depend on area and many other things. But we will work closely in relation to that and closely in relation to the way in which we're structuring that offer. Whether how much of it is in country, how much of it is whether it be in Australia or Malaysia, and then we would look at getting all of those settings right. So in essence, we probably look at a series of principles that we would then take a particular infection depending on what specific problem of the student. But like you, the pricing and the scholarship piece has to keep in constant development.
And it has to be premium, there's no doubt.
That's right.
We always have to have it as a very premium product. But to make sure that there's the reach of
large number of those
That's
students that go to Pilates.
That's right. And to us, we've always been, I will tell you one of the heartbreaks for us of the pandemic is that our Indian students did not take place. Our Indian students walked away from Australian higher education, and we do know why. And I want us to hold that in mind. Our Indian students had a really fantastic focus on their student experience. They wanted to be with one another. They wanted to make sure that they were getting the industry-based experiences, the internships or the other opportunities. They wanted to make sure that they were getting, the post-study work, everything that went together that led the opportunity to study, for example, in Australia, met all of their needs. And so I'm also conscious as we think about that very point, that wasn't, we want to be able to deliver on what they're looking for, on that campus, all the experience they're wanting. So I would encourage as we think our way forward that we hold all of those questions together. We're not in this for a series of, I talked before about how important it is not to think about international education as a transaction. And I do want to make sure as we consider those settings that we hold that student experience very strong.
That was really important. Saying I think this point we know better about the overall experience and all the components that go with it. All of that is very
Myself, Dr. Garima, and looking international collaboration for engineering and technology department, and we are already working on 2+2, and also there is certain revision in masters in AI agreement that we have done in November 2022. Due to change in course curriculum at Monash, they have sent me the revised proposal for the same, and I am working on that, and within next week we are going to finalize that. So that maximum student who want to pursue masters from Australia, and they are going to start their masters itself from the 8th semester, and students from BTech CSE, BTech Information Technology, as well as BTech AI, they are going to pursue their masters in AI from Monash University, Clayton campus.
Yes, Dr. Seema Bhatnagar from Biotechnology. So as I spoke, we've already finalized the 2+2 agreement and students are excited to participate. Immediate plan is that 2 students of that program are going to participate in study abroad. So we consider them ambassadors who will come back and give their feedback about the excellent experience they had. And that will encourage more students to also think on those lines. And of course, very valid point about AI. So AI is really important in biotechnology also, and all our BTech students, they are taking up a minor degree in artificial intelligence, and we would like to explore more opportunities for our BTech students. Right now we have explored for our BSc programs, and we would like to explore for our BTech programs also, because many students are taking these things and they are interested. And in fact, our 50% of our students who they go for higher studies, so they are looking for these opportunities. And of course, in the long term, as I spoke, our faculty is already traveling to Australia for research collaboration. Our students could be the bridge to build these collaborations, and we would like to look at those opportunities as well in the long term. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Meghna. I'm from Amity International Business School. And the programs that we talked about are BBA Artificial Intelligence, BBA Business Intelligence, Data Analytics. We discuss, and the discussion was very interesting prior to this meeting, wherein we talk about that this is our 5th or 6th batch, which is already ready for the industry, and 4 batches are out in the industry. So we have tested the market. Along with that, we have already talked about Center of Excellence in Sustainability sustainability management, wherein we discuss about climate change and green technology management, which is in sync with the SDGs. So all 17 SDGs will be part of it, and that will be in sync with the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister also, who's working on sustainable management. As far as BBA International is concerned, which is an articulation model, a good cohort of students are already ready for this articulation pathway, and they are excited for Australia. Australia being their very favorite destination for this. Having talked about economies of scale, I think when we offer pathways, they have a choice. We can start from the scratch, which is a program, which is a partnership program with Amity and Monash. I think we can discuss on that, and we can definitely attract very good student, good cohort of student who will be ready to move to the Australia, and that will certainly increase, strengthen our partnership, our relationship, and also we'll be able to work on skills. We also have 3 continent program, wherein currently students are covering their program by being part of the program here in India. Then they move to UK, and then they move to US, and then extension to the Canada. As per the vision we discussed, and we are starting 7 continent program, wherein Australia will be one of the destination. So when they go there and visit there and earn and learn there in Australia, when they come back, they will be working as the ambassador for other students to motivate to go to the Australia. So also a twinning program will be a very good program for if we are opening up the skills. If we send up student in semester 2, they start in semester 1 undergrad program, semester 2, if they're there for 6 months, they learn, they understand the culture. When they come back, so entire batch will be working as the ambassador for the university we are extending our services for, and then we can definitely work on the scale as per the vision. That's
Yes. Afternoon, everyone, sir. I am Dr. Khattar from AIBS, and specifically because I look after the PG programs in the institute and all, what sir said also. I think so. They have started a 1-year accelerated master's program. So that would find a lot of interest with the students, because you can then combine the UG plus PG level into, and that would cover the time gap, which is so important for the further working or whatever it is. So that I think is a specific which was probably discussed with the Dean Business School of Monash, that we can carry forward. So I think so that's interesting. So that would have to be this thing, because like as far as a part of business school are there, we have a whole lot of programs and all. So like for example, we also, like what Dr. Meghna said, at PG level also, we have this, besides the MBA IB, which is a classical program, we're also running the MBA Beta and also MBA IB and AI. So it could be with any one of these. That's what I said. So that still has to be worked out. And it is just a thought in the initial stages. That may
I think after taking the inputs from everyone, in the area of management, we have already articulated the undergrad programs where the students who are part of our BBA program, BBA International Business Program, BBA Business Intelligence and Artificial Intelligence and International Business Program, they have been articulated with your programs. So there is no problem. They can obviously do first part of the program here, and then they can do second part of the program there. There was a thought which we have worked on is our MS program. So, which is on the quite advanced stage, where we can involve our postgraduate students also, if they can get a 1-year accelerated MBA program. But I think that one of the condition is that if the student is doing 2 years in Australia, then they get the working rights there. So I think that is one point on which we are discussing, that if they do a part of the program through e-learning board, will they be able to allow to work there? I know that during COVID time, it was allowed. But right now, Australian embassy is silent, but we are working with the High Commissioner, and we have raised this point at the apex level. So I think that when once in November we are having this discussion at that level, we will be able to have more clarity.
Yes, and could I just say it's incredibly important, and that's why I made that point before. It's really important that we understand where the demand and appetite is from your students. Because if we can ascertain where that demand is, then we can actually make more powerful representations to various ministers. Because one of the things the Australian government is very, very focused on at the moment is ensuring that students that come into Australia on student visas are coming in for really excellent education. And if we're able to say, there is a demand here it's as part of a prestigious partnership. These students are very well placed and they are going on and they've got an opportunity to work, particularly in the areas of significant skill shortages in Australia, which we have a number. Then we can be more compelling advocates with our government. And so that's very important. So that's why I say let's keep a really close watch on what your students are telling you.
Absolutely. And I think that this is a feedback which we got when your education minister was here and when we were invited to give our feedback. So I think this is one of the points that during COVID, as you were saying, the large number of Indian students, they came back. And after that, they have not been able to do. So I think this point was raised by us and by the Australian side also. And the minister said that they are going to take it very seriously and they are going to make some major announcements. And after that, one of the announcement was that Australian side said that we would like to establish now campus in campus. So I think that is a point where we like to work. But this will be a very big thing if we allow students who are doing a majority of the program in India, and let's say they just do 1 year in Australia and get the visa rights. So I think this is a point which we need to take it.
Great, Dr. Singh. I would also like to hear from Rear Admiral Bhatnagar. Admiral Bhatnagar is a recipient of the Freedom Medal from President Obama in the United States and a very respected administrator. So, Admiral Bhatnagar, what are your thoughts? Monash, Amity, where do you feel we should be going?
Yes, I'm not very old at Amity, not that experienced as others, but I've seen many universities visit us and we've had interactions. But this is, I can tell you with great honesty, the first university which is looking at actual cooperation, as in two-way mobility, as in interacting with us as well as we would like to engage with you. So to that end, I think we have a lot of things in common, and I was trying to sell India to you, but then I realized that you already know so much about it, and so but I would like to just Dr. Singh has already told you all about Amity, and you know how nice and the infrastructure is, where we are in terms of scale and quality. But I like to just tell you about India, just two things, and I'm sure you may know some of it, but not all. India is doing extremely well in almost all parameters of nation building, and this is running on the backbone of digitalization. And you may be surprised to know that we are the per capita data utilization of Indians is the highest in the world. That is not a foregone conclusion. But we were number 122 in the world in 2014. From there to 21. And the per data capital utilization of data in China and US put together is less than India. So that's the scale and speed at which we have moved. We are the youngest country in the world, and we will continue to be the youngest country in the world till 2070. So that's the demographic advantage. Why I'm bringing out these things to you is that this is the land of opportunity. The 200 years of Western, I wouldn't say domination, but lead of the world is an aberration in history. It's going to come back here. And therefore, it's very wise for anyone to come and study in India. And if India, it has to be Amity. And the 400 students that are coming here, they are coming here for a short duration. I would urge you, I would insist that you send them for longer duration and they will get the advantage and be part of the winning team. I think there are a lot of opportunities. We have specialists sitting here who will talk about each subject, each faculty member will talk about their domain. But generally, on a larger scale, this is the time to be here. And I'm very glad that you've come here at this point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Bhatnagar. Did I get the name of the medal right? What is the...
Almost. So it's the Legion of Merit.
Sorry, the Legion of Merit
Yeah.
medal.
So
Yes, correct.
And I've been fortunate to get that at the time of President Obama. I'm the seventh. I was the seventh person in India to get it from the time we got independence.
Right.
And the next one who got it, I say it in jest. You may know him. His name is Mr. Narendra Modi.
Right, very good. Thank you, Admiral Bhatnagar. What Dr. Pickering, it would be interesting for me to hear either from yourself or maybe Professor Jeffrey, that your presence in other parts of the world, may it be Malaysia or Indonesia or China, if you could speak a little bit about that, what was the objective? Could you fulfill the objective? What is the model in which you operate? What is the maybe scale of it? Is it in partnership or independent? Just getting some idea of what you have already done globally would be interesting to hear.
Of course, I'd be happy to respond to that, but I'm just conscious, Craig, did you want to make a comment before I do that?
Just want to say one little thing. I think my voice is probably sufficiently booming. Oh, it's recording. All right. Let's record it for posterity. This might seem like a rather silly point to make, but I think it's incredibly important. I got lost recently in Melbourne and in the CBD, and I stopped and I asked somebody, can you tell me where I need to go? And they said, hi, I'm John, and this is my friend Richard, and we're now going to tell you how to get to where you want to go. I got lost on my way coming to Amity in the car, and we stopped and we asked people, and people crowded around the car. Yeah, go up there, go this way, go that way. There is a public culture of friendliness and assistance. There is a public culture of welcome and of guesthood in these two countries, India and Australia, that is unusual globally. One more thing. Australia and India, we have very similar sense of humor. I promise. And I've talked to stand-up comics who've gone each. I used to be the CEO of the Australia-India Institute. We used to sponsor the arts. We had stand-up comics, theatre troupes doing comedies, moving between the two countries. They were so successful. I think it might seem silly, but I think it's the cultural soil in which our students can blossom and grow as they engage in these kinds of exchanges. It's very important. It's another reason to look east and specifically to look southeast. But now I'll let Professor Pickering. But you asked an important question, which Professor Pickering is best to answer.
So I can offer you a little bit of an overview in relation to that. So Monash University first went forward globally in relation to its campus in Malaysia. That arrangement was originally undertaken as a joint venture with the Sunway Group. We bought out our joint venture partner there 3 years ago now, and now it's a wholly owned entity operating in Malaysia. In relation to Indonesia, it is a sorry.
Partner, is that no longer the case, or as a sleeping partner they still
No, that's right. So we're able to operate independently now as a wholly owned entity. I mean, there's a whole set of arrangements that sit,
right,
of course, behind that,
yes,
but that opportunity has now presented. In Indonesia, we've gone in wholly owned from the beginning. It's important to remember that our Malaysian campus has a full undergraduate program. There's some 10,000 students. It is research intensive. It is by any measure a university. It is not a branch campus. It is a university, and I think that's very important. In Indonesia, we have begun as wholly owned. In Suzhou, it is a joint academy with Southeast University. It is different but similar to, in essence, an arrangement with IIT. But again, it's a joint academy. They are not, if you like, standalone campuses or branch campuses. They are also solely focused on doctoral training and research. In Suzhou, and our academy there also delivers 800 students in postgraduate coursework degrees as well. So Monash also has a presence in Italy. It has broadly been a centre in which we have hosted a range of activities, from a lot of intensive teaching programs through to conferences and seminars. It was a way, when you're in Australia, you're a very long way from Europe, and when Europeans realise how long the plane trip is to Australia, they tend to get a little bit, nervous. So sometimes we had to meet them in Europe, and so our Prato camp was very useful there. We have recently, though, been given standing in relation to Horizon Europe, and we have got a research foundation there that is just beginning, which will enable us to access European research funding there as well. So the short answer is that we have utilised a range of models that are most appropriate to the location that we are going into. But there are two things that Monash always does. It always includes research. It always includes postgraduate and doctoral training, because we are a research-intensive university. Okay.
It's very good. And I think this localization and going as per the need of each geography, that is just the right way. And I don't know of many universities that actually have so aggressively gone so deep. People set up small centers, but actually to do it in the way that you have done, and to be often perceived that you are, it's very unusual and very encouraging.
So, like all institutions, you learn all the time. But one of the things that we really do want to consider very deeply here is to ensure that we give an appropriate consideration to what India is asking with the NEP. What are they asking of us, and how can we actually really consider that and respond in a meaningful way? We're not just here to accrue students or to produce papers. It is a much larger piece. I've talked before about the importance of soft diplomacy, about bringing nations together. It's that piece that's also very important to us in our considerations.
I think that these are very useful inputs which you have given, and maybe in a smaller group today or later on, maybe the Apex group can then sit down that how to make this partnership very successful. As I think we have discussed, we are not looking at small numbers, but we are looking at size, scalability, and for scalability, India is a bit price sensitive market, and I know that your teams have already been working on the various models. But you have worked in Indonesia, you have worked in Malaysia, so you know that how it needs to be worked. So I think that we need to create a model which is sustainable, which can attract large number of students, and not only large number of students, good students. Right. So, and I think that for the good students, we need to create a model which can attract them to our brands. So that is what we are doing for research. I think that first step we have already taken. Then second step we are taking in February. But by the beginning of the next year, we want to have this financial model working, which should not be only attracting good number of students, but which is the best in the country. This was the input which we gave to the Honorable Education Minister also, who came and who asked us that what MIT needs if they want to create a campus with the Australian University. And we said at that time also very proudly that we like to work with Monash, which is going to be a strategic partner. And we look forward to build this relationship for all times to come. I would request our Chancellor to give the concluding remarks and then first.
Look, I think this is very exciting. We are at a point in time that, we are all excited by the opportunities, and it is a matter of now finding the right strategy, finding the right approach, and then putting together a team, Dr. Singh, for follow-up and monitoring continuously that, are we achieving what we have set out to achieve? But we are very much committed to this partnership, and we have great regard and respect for Monash University as a global university, and we would like to work with you in not one but many different ways. And if we can identify what it is that we can chalk out as priorities, and then and chalk out how do we achieve the broader vision and mission of each of the universities on bilateral cooperation between the countries and the universities, and then for students at different levels, what are we trying to achieve and how do we achieve it? I think the beginning has been made. At the end of it, I believe strongly in people-to-people interaction, that the faculty and the deans, and when they talk to each other, that is actually the best way to achieve results. And then when students start going, that expands onto itself. So I think we have a big opportunity here, Dr. Singh, and Dr. Pickering personally coming in with the team is always encouraging. So we keep inviting you back, and let us do great things together and change the world.
Chancellor, thank you so much. I am in absolute agreement with everything you have said. Likewise, we have great respect for what Amity has achieved in such a short period of time. Monash likes to think of itself as a young, hungry institution. I do believe you may be putting us to shame on those measures. What's important is that as we look at how we come together, we're trying to make 1 + 1 = 4. So we want to be able to not only meet the missions and objectives of our own institutions, we want to enjoy that excitement of what is it that we can do together that we cannot do apart. Okay, and that's really where the opportunity sits here. I do believe it goes beyond education. I believe it goes to the heart of what we want our region to become, and the roles of Australia and India in those futures. We too are heavily invested in people-to-people relationships, and one of the things that we always refer to is we want a deep understanding, we want great networks, and we want the depth of relationship between our organisations. I am very enthusiastic. I am incredibly heartened, and I am very, very grateful for all of the work that your excellent colleagues have put in so far to this relationship, because you and I get to sit here and they are the ones that are busy mapping curriculum and convincing one another of what's possible and how to overcome whatever we need to overcome. It is their great work, and I'm very, very grateful to everyone here. And my colleagues too will redouble their efforts in their work with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this erudite interaction. We now have felicitations for our guests. We request Team ID to felicitate. Please give a huge round of applause to Professor Pickering. We would also request Professor Jeffrey to please step forward for the felicitations. Since you spoke about Indian hospitality and the commonality in our soils, we have a small token of appreciation for you to remind us about Amity. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May we also request Professor Sarah to step forward, please? Thank you everyone for joining.
Oh, thank
आप आते रहो है ना
जरूर आना
Your role is so important, looking after the students and the pastoral care, and that is really a very important aspect of what we all do.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for your work.
Oh, very happy to do it. I'm very grateful.
Thank you. It's just that privilege to have you here. We will take that. Sure.